I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:34. Can I get a roll call?
Beginning roll call. Alexis Lewis,
Present.
Shirley Melnico,
Here.
Kalima Salahuddin,
Here.
Rob Solano,
Here.
and James Simmons.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move on to public comment. This item is reserved for persons looking to address the Independent Civilian Advisory Commission on topics within the jurisdiction of the commission, but that are not on the agenda. And public comments have a time limit, so if we can respect that time limit. And now I'll turn it over.
I do want to note that we did receive written public comments, and they have been sent to the commissioners and are posted on the website. And we do have 2 speaker slips. We will begin with Deacon Lauren McCombs. If you can please come up to the podium, and you may begin.
Yeah, well, I think it would help if it was on. I think, are we good now? Can you hear me okay? So I can't talk too loud. My name is Deacon Lauren Patton McCombs, and I'm currently serving at Christ Episcopal Church in Portola Valley in Woodside. I'm a member of Peninsula Solidarity Cohort and Fix in San Mateo County. On April 3rd, I spoke to you on the important issue of how incarcerated persons in our county jails are being detained access to religious services and materials. This is a direct violation of the U.S. Constitution and their right to religious freedom. As I stated previously, it's a violation of the Sheriff's Corrections Procedure Manual under Policy 1018.12. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, now okay. I don't think you missed much. You know who I am. It's been over 5 months, and it's my understanding that little has changed. As an ordained minister who believes that pastoral care should be available for all, it saddens me that this isn't happening for incarcerated persons. It's deplorable to deny incarcerated persons of every denomination the opportunity to practice their faith at a time when they so desperately need to connect to a higher power. Chaplains visiting with them, offering compassion, could give them a glimmer of hope for their future where they are feeling so isolated from the world and from their families. Fix in San Mateo County has tried to schedule a meeting to better understand what religious services and materials that are currently being allowed. But unfortunately, no one has been available from the county or the jails to speak with us, which is quite disappointing. I'm hoping that ICAC can bring this to their attention and that you all might have better position to get some answers to this. Thank you very much for your service to our county.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more speaker card. Nancy Goodman, if you can come up to the podium.
Thank you. And thank you for passing around those flyers. I'm Nancy Goodman, Redwood City with Fix in San Mateo County. And we just want to invite everyone to a really high-level talk by Zoom next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Cami McElhiney is the executive director of the National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement. They just completed a regional conference last week that a few people went to in San Francisco. So it's really going to be worthwhile. What are the oversight trends currently nationally and lessons learned? So for all of us interested in oversight, I would recommend. And then just following in what Deacon Lauren said, I'm a member of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Redwood City. We nationally have a fellowship that writes to people in prison. There are people concerned about the prison ministry. And I and Lauren and a small group of faith leaders and community members and attorneys have been meeting and trying to clarify what's going on currently in the jail with regard to services. And I know the captain there really wants to meet with us, and he's waiting for permission from the undersheriff, which may now grant permission, because we asked to meet with the program person there, Melissa Wagner, and originally with the Service League president, which is Karen Francone, and they can't meet without the undersheriff's permission. But really all we're doing is asking this jail to go back to the pre-COVID protocols for religious services. People could come in every day from, we talked to a chaplain from before, every day, 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now it's like about 8 hours a week, although we haven't confirmed. They didn't need escorts. You would just check in if you were a chaplain. I know Commissioner Malnico asked why you needed an escort if you had a background check. They would check in at the desk and get a non-escort badge. They created their own times and went to the pods that they wanted to go to. Now they're assigned to a pod by someone in the jail, so you can't have an ongoing religious counseling with a person. So we just want them to go back to how it was. Thank you. Nothing radical.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Zoom public comments, we have four hands raised. We will begin with Noble Truth Seeker. You have 2 minutes and you may begin when you're ready.
Thank you for letting me speak. Now that the commission has recommended an inspector general, I want to remind you to look into the idea of an ombudsman, because I think the inspector general is going to get snowed under with requests that probably could be better handled by an ombudsman, because they're not necessarily going to lead to legal charges. But I want to bring up a brand new issue. So I know there are a lot of issues, and I'm not trying to diminish any of the things that have already been put before the commission, but I would really appreciate the commission's serious consideration of this new issue. There is an epidemic of domestic violence and cyber stalking in San Mateo County. When we tried to get a meeting with the sheriff about a year and a half ago, we were unable to get a meeting. I would really be grateful if somebody on the commission would take this on as a serious topic. My very loose suggestion is that the sheriff, who is female, we don't know how long she'll be there, but for now she's there, would put a female sheriff in charge of a domestic violence and cyber stalking task force, because most of the people in the county who are experiencing this are women. I'm bringing this up without breaching confidentiality, because 2 residents in my apartment building have gone through hell in the last year, and the sheriff's department has been woefully inadequate dealing with the problem. One person was swatted for 7 months, had an ex-boyfriend making false claims that she was being strangled, and he could see it on camera. And the sheriff's department royally botched all the situations around it for 7 months, never connected the dots on all the different incidents that occurred involving that individual. So she was terrorized for 7 months with officers banging down her door, thinking that she was being murdered. And another person in my building was assaulted by a caretaker who was also her boyfriend. I just would really like to encourage you to get the sheriff to create a commission, appoint sheriffs from every district that the sheriff's responsible for, have men and women, and create a central database of all domestic violence incidents, so that new officers who come onto a new situation can
Thank
quickly
you.
find out past history.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next speaker will be ACLU NC chapters. You will be allowed to talk and you may begin when you're ready.
Sorry about that moniker. My name is Beth Von Emster, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the ACLU. I'm a Belmont resident and a member of Fixin San Mateo County. I want to express my gratitude first that you're grappling with so many important issues at tonight's meeting, especially the prolonged suspension of inmate visitation, the need to improve the citizen complaint form, and an update from the Deaths in Custody Task Force. I'd also like to echo the concerns expressed by others about access to religious services and materials in the jail. Access here in our county is very different than our neighboring counties, including Santa Clara and San Francisco, and is much more restrictive than it was here in the county before COVID. So there should be a return to pre-COVID protocols, allow clergy to visit every day for longer hours, stop requiring deputy escorts, particularly because this causes a significant denial due to staffing shortages, and allow clergy to distribute paper religious materials. I hope the Sheriff's Office will address these easy fixes to religious access so that our community members in custody will have what they need to exercise this very basic human right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker will be Bill Newell. You may begin when you're ready.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, my name is Bill Newell, and I'm a resident of Redwood City. I'm a member of the San Francisco Peninsula People Power, which is part of the Coalition for a Safer San Mateo County. First, I want to thank the ICAC for looking into all of the various issues that have been previously named this evening and things that you've done in the past. That the community is bringing up to you. You're an inspiration to a lot of us going forward and trying to make change. I want to thank you, and in particular, I want to thank Chair Kalima Salahuddin for her excellent presentation that she made at the August 12th meeting of the County Board, recommending the ICAC recommendation for a permanent inspector general to the Board of Supervisors. A permanent inspector general will be proactive, not reactive, and will prevent problems before they can get to the point of a crisis. They can also be an excellent, ideal place where people can take concerns and issues that they would like to have addressed. It should also be noted that county taxpayers have paid out more than $13.4 million to sheriff misconduct in the past 2 years. Most recently, a settlement of $8 million for sexual harassment and assault of a SWAT team member by her superior. An inspector general could look at sheriff policies and procedures to do a failure analysis for incidents that result in payouts and prevent future incidents. Finally, I want to thank the ICAC for lifting up the importance of community input in any process to replace the sheriff. If the sheriff is removed, please keep us in the community apprised. We all want to be involved in the process, if there is a process, for who a new sheriff would be, and which should hopefully be somebody who's supportive of community oversight and inspector general. Thank you.
Thank you. Last speaker on Zoom is X, and you may begin when you're ready.
Yes, good evening. Today, long before the 4 p.m. written deadline to submit a comment, I submitted a comment that was, I believe, 16 pages long. And the first page was an email, and that email referenced multiple attachments. I looked online at 6 p.m. and saw that the written comments were included. However, my written comment was only one page. It included the very first page. So it kind of makes me look like I might not be providing accurate information because all my evidence and written documentation was not provided. So I have to also assume that this commission did not see any of my evidence and the reasons why I'm so adamant that Kalima needs to be removed from this commission. It's beginning to look like this is intentional. I've spoken before at the meetings about her behavior. It's unethical. She either lied or somebody put her up to lying to the public during the meeting, and she has not taken accountability for it nor corrected it. It's a violation of my First Amendment right. I had a right to make a written comment, and you guys have violated the trust and integrity of this commission. I'm willing to meet with any of you guys on the commission to go over my issue and my concern and why I feel so strongly, being a domestic abuse survivor, that she appears to be trying to protect Marco Durazo, who supposedly resigned from the commission in January. While Kalima states that it was after missing 3 meetings in a row, which she absolutely did not do. So at the very least tonight, I would expect you not to reappoint her as commissioner and as chair, and she should be removed immediately. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That concludes public comment.
Thank you. Not really. Yeah.
Oh, I just want to make sure that,
No, I'm okay, but thank
are you
you.
all right with it?
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's fine. You know, you're not gonna make everyone happy all the time. So I'm gonna move on for a motion to approve the agenda. Anyone?
moved.
Second? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. Moving on for a motion to approve the minutes. Oh, is there any correction? Unless there's a correction.
You got it, Shirley. On the special meeting on July 2nd, on the second page under Commissioner Inquiries, it said Chair Kalima and Commissioners Rebecca. It should be Alexis.
Oh.
Shirley.
Thank you. Any other edits before we make the motion to approve? Okay, so with those changes, can I get a motion to approve the minutes? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, great. Now we are going to move on to the election of the commissioner chair and vice chair. It's been a year, so we have to do this again. I don't know if we do this the same way that we do like other boards where somebody has to make a motion, or do I just say,
I'd like to make a nomination.
oh, someone has to nominate? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay,
I would like to continue with our current chair. And vice chair,
Thank you.
Bill McClure.
thank you. Do we just need a nomination? That's it? Okay. Any other nominations? Okay, so seeing none, is there any public comment on this?
Okay, members of the public, if you wish to comment on agenda item number 5, please use the raised hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk during this time. You'll be granted 2 minutes. We do have one raised hand on Zoom. X, you may begin when you're ready.
Yes, I don't know who the gentleman was that made a comment after I spoke, but that was completely inappropriate, not the time to make comments on public comments. And if you haven't seen all my evidence, you don't know what I'm talking about. Kamala blatantly lied to the public when she stated her reasons for why Marco Durazo was no longer on the commission. And that is not a transparent board. None of you have any ethics if you're not willing to look into this issue further. It's really disgusting and vile that you're here to make the sheriff's office a better place, and yet you are no better than what's happening at the sheriff's office. Lying, protecting people, covering up for people. And it starts with Kamala because she has not admitted what she did. I laid out all the evidence when I spoke at prior meetings, going over the dates when Mr. Durazo missed, and it clearly was not 3 meetings in a row. At the time that he left, I included tonight in my written comment that was not posted in violation of my First Amendment right, an email that was from Deputy County Attorney Silberman, where he states that that Jackie Spears' office wanted me to know that Marco had resigned, and that was dated January 17th. And I also did a Freedom of Information request, another document that I included in the packet that was not submitted online, that shows that he clearly had not missed 3 meetings in a row as of January 17th. So my question is, why is Kamala lying, and why are all of you protecting her? I will be bringing this up until this is resolved to my satisfaction. Thank you for your time.
We do have one more hand raised. Bill Newell, you may begin when you're ready.
Hi, I just want to say, as a citizen of Redwood City and San Mateo County for the last 30 years, and for somebody who's been following the issue of oversight and the need for an inspector general, that I have been thoroughly impressed with the efforts of all the members of the ICAC, and I'm particularly impressed with the leadership of Ms. Sulahuddin and Mr. McClure, And I applaud all of you for your efforts in your work, and just wish you the best, and want to tell you that you've got a great group of people here and a great leadership going forward. So thank you for all your services to our county. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment.
Okay, great. So we have the nominations to keep myself as chair and to keep Vice Chair McClure. And so with that, can we get a roll call vote?
Okay. Sorry, I apologize. We have the Rob making the first motion. Who was the second?
I don't know if do we need to have a motion in a second? Is this a nomination? Okay, let's go ahead. So can we have a nomination? So can we have a motion to approve or vote to keep myself and Bill in our current positions?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Beginning roll call. Alexis Lewis,
Yes.
Shirley Melnico,
Yes.
Kalima Saludi,
Yes.
Rob Solano,
Yes.
and James Simmons.
Yes.
All right.
Thank
motion
you,
passes.
everyone. Okay. Moving on to our next item, which is informational. Oh. Thank you. Thank you to all of us. It has been so crazy. This has been a year. They had to remind me. And I was like, it's kind of flew by so fast. I know, yeah. So I'm looking forward to working with everyone again for another year. So this one is an informational update on the elevator repairs at McGuire Correctional Facility and the impact on inmate visitation schedule. So I'm going to turn it over to the sheriff's office.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners, members of the community. I'm Dan Perea, the Undersheriff of the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office. I'm here this evening with Captain Fogarty, who is in charge of the day-to-day operations of our corrections facilities. I'd like to thank all the members, start off by thanking all the members of the Sheriff's Office who contribute daily to the safe and successful operations of the Corrections Bureau, especially while meeting the new challenges that the facility elevators have presented. I'll start by informing everyone who's not aware that the Sheriff's Office is a tenant of the County of San Mateo in these buildings. The Sheriff's Office pays rent to the county for maintenance of all facilities, and that includes elevator repairs. The Sheriff's Office works closely with the Department of Public Works, who are responsible for maintenance of all facilities, including elevator repairs. And we appreciate their efforts and partnership. And I can tell you that Captain Fogarty is involved in virtually daily meetings with the Department of Public Works to talk about these issues. So that everyone understands, there are 4 elevators inside of the McGuire Correctional Facility. Inside these elevators, numbers 1, 2, and 4 are used by staff and incarcerated persons. Elevator number 3 is used exclusively by visitors. It is the only elevator designated for that purpose. The McGuire Corrections Facility was not designed for in-person visits to be conducted on the first floor. The facility and elevators were built in 1988 by Thyssen Krupp Elevator, where they handle the elevators, not the entire facility. And the county was informed 15 years ago that the elevators required a replacement. And I'll talk a little bit about what the steps are moving forward with that piece of it a little bit later. There's been a history of challenges with the elevators for the past 15 years, being out of service due to a myriad of issues. Things like parts, the doors, the control panels, computer boards, and what slows down repair significantly is that because the elevators are old and, dare I say, antiquated, there is not a large supply of spare parts. On June 19th, elevator number 3 our visitor elevator, stopped working with an unknown issue and problem. At that time, and over the past several months, the service company that deals with repairing the elevators has been out to the correctional facility, the McGuire, sometimes, some weeks, almost on a daily basis, trying to sort out what the problems are. They send technicians, project managers, who again are sometimes on site almost every day. They examine all the parts and materials inside the cars, which includes software and hardware. There were several things identified. One of them was a control board for the elevators. And again, because the elevators are older, these are not parts that are readily available. And I do want to say that while I'm speaking now, Captain Fogarty has been involved in the collaboration and the efforts to try to get this repaired and these things resolved, so he can speak. He can probably recite all this stuff with his eyes closed and in his sleep. He understands what the issues are, I think, better than a lot of folks do. So if you have any direct, like kind of detail-oriented questions, I'm sure he'll be able to answer them. No pressure. All right. Discovering that no control boards were available due to the age of the elevators, the strategy was to find a company to actually manufacture a board, which happened. We also have the electronic key card access and their computers that are kind of connected for access. So the most recent attempt at trying to resolve the matter was to get both companies to talk to see if there was a computer issue with both of them, with both of their systems accessing use of the elevator. So for operational impacts, certainly one of the largest has been restricted access for in-person visits. Again, the facility was not designed for in-person visits on the first floor. We looked at the available space that we had there. There was one particular room, but there were concerns about security and access for people who might have mobility issues, being able to get into the room, and then also the concerns for the possibility of somebody breaking the glass or a door and being able to escape. One of the things that the sheriff asked for immediately when this when this wasn't resolved quickly, because the elevators, in my brief time here, have been an issue where they repair people come out, they're able to fix it, and then everything works well for a certain period, and then something happens again. So it fluctuates. It's not a static issue. But one of the things that the sheriff wanted was to have all of our incarcerated persons informed in some manner about the status of the elevators and the impact that it would have on visitations. So one of the ways that we communicate to the folks that are in custody is through the tablet. Incarcerated people are able to use a tablet during recreation periods, and when they turn that thing on, there is a screen that pops up that's an acknowledgement that everybody signs off on before they use the tablet, that informs them of what the status is regarding the elevators and in-person visits. In addition to the daily use of the tablets, which provides I don't know if unlimited is the correct word, but provides access to visits through the tablet with registered persons for the incarcerated people that they would like to visit with. There's also daily access to electronic messaging and phone services. There's been no Title 15 requirements suspended while the elevators have been in a state of disrepair, and our recreation time out of cell continues to meet Title 15 standards. Additionally, the sheriff's office moved some incarcerated persons from the McGuire Street Correction Facility to the Maple Street Corrections Center. And Captain Fogarty can correct me if I'm misstating this, but in McGuire, The sixth floor has all the population there was moved. So that floor is now vacant, which helps in doing things like recreation floor by floor, because that's a floor that the sheriff's office no longer has to manage in that way. And Captain Fogarty has used this opportunity with that floor being vacant to have maintenance work done that would otherwise kind of impact the operation. So that is one part of the strategy that was being implemented. In adjusting the population, part of the consideration was, of course, for the safety of all of the incarcerated people in the facility, and also by moving people from McGuire to Maple, which still has in-person visits available, that increased the access people would have to having visits. In terms of grievances on behalf of or that are registered or levied by incarcerated persons, they receive responses with directions on alternative visiting methods, like I've spoken about, the tablets, phone, and mail, to ensure that they all know their options. Again, the state of disrepair with the elevators is it fluctuates. There's times when everything is operational, and there are other times when they are not. As I said earlier, the Sheriff's Office continues to hold daily meetings with the Department of Public Works. I want to thank Captain Fogarty for being involved in that on a daily basis. And then just for the long-term, information, DPW is in the process of having all 4 elevators replaced. That is supposed to start later this year, 2025, and is scheduled to be completed in January of 2027 for full refurbishment of all 4 elevators. And that's what I have.
Okay, thank you. So anything else from you all? No? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and open it up for questions. Sure, go ahead, Rob.
Gentlemen,
Evening.
Captain, how long have you been with the sheriff's office?
Since 2005, sir.
2005?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And undersheriff, you've been, what, less than 2 years?
A little more than a year.
Excuse me?
July of 2024.
July
Yes, sir.
2024. Captain, do you have any training or education in elevator repair?
I do not.
I know that the undersheriff had identified the section of the county that's responsible for the repairs. What is the name of that company?
The Department of Public Works.
No, the name of the contractor that the county has designated to repair these elevators.
Otis Elevator Company.
Who is the director of public works for the county? What's his name
I
or
don't
her
remember
name?
at the time. The deputy director is Tori Newman, who I've been working with closely.
Tori?
Newman, Newmann.
Okay, so you had mentioned the jail was built in 1988. Is there any maintenance records or anything that shows from when it was built to the time present of the maintenance, not only of the elevators, but of other repairs that were made to just McGuire?
I would have to get back to you to see if the sheriff's office maintains those records.
Or Public Works?
You know,
I have some answers for you, sir. So we entered into another maintenance contract with another company as well called CML Security. CML Security keeps a record of all the maintenance that is done that they are responsible for. And that has in a database that's been updated and on a daily basis is updated. And that goes back to, I believe it was 2018. So every record of anything they've been involved with has. In addition to that, every time we call Department of Public Works, we call in to let them know there's a maintenance issue. I believe they carry a log, and so they would be the ones responsible for carrying a log of the dates that it came in, who called, what the location was, and then the date it was fixed. And I know that I've seen previous logs on that where they have kept record of that.
Would there also be a log of the costs incurred by the county relative to all these repairs?
That's where I believe would be Department of Public Works. I don't have a record of that.
So basically, you're relying on the Public Works Department to do the contractual relationship for the repairs of the elevators, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Does the sheriff's office have any interaction with picking a contractor?
We do not.
Excuse me while I write it. I'm trying to get baseline. Okay. Is the sheriff's office the deciding official or approval authority so this contractor gets paid?
No.
So the sheriff's office, let me get this straight. It's a elevator or 4 elevators that is in a jail facility that houses prisoners for the sheriff's office. And you don't have any authority or review of the contractors that are hired in order to complete the maintenance of those elevators.
Just to clarify, I believe I can answer that very comfortably and say yes, that we do not. However, I need to make sure that people understand we do conduct jail clearances to make sure that whoever comes into our facility, we do a full background.
Oh, okay,
So that way they do only come in if we allow them to come in.
okay. There's just, I've got some recommendations, but I'd like to hear from my other commission members. Okay, thank you.
Shirley, go ahead.
Thank you. I have 4 questions. One, does this affect lawyer visits at all?
So the answer is yes, there's some lawyer visits. However, we've worked with the Public Defender Program to increase the number of tablets that are provided to us. Those have Zoom capabilities. We actually increased the number of it because of the elevator issue, so that way there are more tablets that are available for people to be able to meet. In addition to that, the first floor is still available for lawyers to go ahead and meet, and the Maple Street Correctional Center still allows visits as well. In addition to that, after several times, we've also worked with PDP to allow attorneys to visit with their clients prior to them appearing on the 4th floor. So there's additional attorney contacts that are made there as well prior to when they actually appear in court.
Great, thank you. And how many inmates actually had personal visits, say, in the month of May?
It's a great question. So we actually did the math on it. There's an average of 20 visits per day in the McGuire Correctional Facility and 95 visits virtually.
For the week, for the
Yeah.
month?
Correct.
And were most of those inmates moved to Maple Street?
No, there was a number of people who were moved to Maple Street, but we still have to be able to operate both facilities. And so I now will tell you that Maple Street is at capacity, which is why I cannot move anyone else over there at this point.
Okay, and the last question is, you said January 2027. Is that correct, as opposed to 26, that the elevators will be?
Yes, ma'am. So
And
there's a
it'll be
14-week timeline for each elevator. In addition to that, they have to be able to source supplies. The vendor was just picked by Department of Public Works approximately 2 weeks ago, to my knowledge.
Mhm.
They've already done a site survey. They are working right now on submitting all their JR clearances. They're working on getting all the materials that they need on site. We've already developed a plan of where they're going to be storing those materials. And then once they begin construction, each elevator will be down for approximately 14 weeks.
And my last question is, do all the inmates have a tablet when they're released?
No, when people are out on recreation, they do have tablets available to them, yes.
All of them?
Yes, when they're out on recreation.
Thank you.
Alexis?
Do all inmates go out on recreation?
Yes.
I was just following up on her question. How is it determined who will be moved to Maple from McGuire?
We looked at who would be suitable for a programming facility because Maple Street Correctional Center is designed to be a programming facility. So we wanted people who would be willing to program. By programming, what I mean is participate in Alcoholics Anonymous and a and other programs that be available over there, including culinary. So as an example, we provide people with opportunities to go ahead and provide an understanding of why they're there and potentially work through what issues or problems they may have. So what we did is try and compare the people we could bring over to that to make sure everyone was able to go ahead and have those opportunities. In addition to that, we continue to keep trying to recruit people from McGuire to go ahead and go to Maple Street.
And is it, I think I remember from some of the earlier meetings, the people that are entitled to participate in those meetings have to be San Mateo County residents. Is that right? Or,
That's incorrect. Anyone's
Okay.
able to participate.
okay, so you can be someone from Santa Clara or San Francisco or Monterey, and you can
Correct.
participate. And how many inmates did you say were moved to Maple?
I don't have the number off the top of my head. I can tell you it's approximately 120.
And they received face-to-face visitations with.
They also have opportunities for face-to-face visits now, yes.
And then how many did you say you'd had via Zoom? How many inmates had via Zoom?
I have not
meetings?
kept track of that. I just want to clarify. So video visitation is not via Zoom. That's for the
Oh.
public defender program.
Okay,
The video visitation has continued throughout this entire time period. And that is anytime people are out of their cell, they're able to receive or make video visitation. So that visitation has continued. The public defender program still has in-person visits, as well as being able to use Zoom on the different pods to be able to contact them as well.
okay. Can you explain the video visitation to me?
Sure. So there's a company that we use for the tablets. It's called Smart Communications. Smart Communications allows virtual visitation, and that actually started just about the time that COVID began, because we want to make sure people have the opportunities to have video visitation. Prior to that, Maple Street was built for video visitation. That system stopped working right before COVID. So we decided to go ahead and start video visitation. What ends up happening is people can actually log on to talk to their loved ones while they're actually in custody. And they can use that tablet anytime they're out and about. So it could be 3 to 4 hours that they're able to go ahead and use that. And so it makes it available for anytime, as long as people are willing to receive those visits, as long as people are willing to take the time to actually contact them as well.
So is it like Zoom? Is it live?
It is.
Oh, okay.
It is
So
100%
it's just-
live.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I had. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So I have a few questions, but first I was thinking about this a lot when I was looking at the agenda, and then I thought I explained my thought process a little bit. My questions are couched in who we are. Like, we are advisory to the supervisors, right? So the things that we learn here are to hopefully build recommendations to give to the board of supervisors or to give to yourself. And then the other thing that I balance is righteousness and empathy, right? Because I feel like these are very complex issues that are triggering of a lot of emotion that makes people, including myself, go into righteousness. But then that doesn't create a space for empathy, and I feel like empathetic spaces are where change is made. So I just want to say that I know in this meeting you're hearing a lot of righteous anger. And I feel and understand that. But I also want to try to make it a space where it's empathetic so that we can work on fixing or changing or modifying systems collaboratively to better serve everyone. And I know personally, in my role when I was a school board member, when you have a lot of people angry at you, you tend to go into your, circle up and defend and be defensive instead of having a space where we can be vulnerable to talk about what do I need and how we can be supported in order to make change. So I know I've been critical of the leader, but I also want to talk about that I'm trying to learn about the system in order to better give guidance so that we can all get help. So having said that, I want to first learn, so when the issue first appeared, like, what's the process when when a malfunction of this level happens, what is the process that you go through? Like letting the county know who you know, who gets informed, and then how are those next steps decided?
Absolutely. Well, first, what ends up happening is when the elevator goes out of service, we immediately get notified that the elevator is out of service. And that's for any one of the 4 elevators. Our immediate reaction is to call the Department of Public Works to let them know that there's a problem with the elevator. We actually also have a telephone numbers available to us after hours as well. So we will call Otis directly to say, we have a problem with this elevator. We need you to come out and go ahead and provide service. At that point, we're kind of on our own. And so we try and make do with what we have available to us to continue to keep the operations. I like to equate the correctional facilities with a hotel. It never stops working. It's open 24 hours a day. We have a number of clients who are inside. All of our IPs need the opportunities to go ahead and have visitation and also be able to have access to deal with, talk to people. And also, we still have to move food. We still have to move people to court. So we also then start looking at what are our plans. So now that an elevator is down, what can we do as a contingency plan? What other elevators are available? What can we do to possibly make things even easier for people? After we go through that, again, we're at the whim of Otis Elevator and also at the Department of Public Works of when those elevators will then be up and running. We note down, and then oftentimes I've gotten involved to ask, what is the status and where are we at with this? And what is it that are the next steps? And how do we make solutions to this? And just so you know, I'm full of empathy, so I appreciate any and all comments. And I know that we're all here to try and do the right thing, which is make things better for everybody. In this case, I've been very frustrated because I'm looking for additional parts that I've offered to even purchase myself if need be, just to try and get things resolved. Unfortunately, this is well beyond my expertise. As Mr. Solano pointed out, I'm not an elevator repair person. I never learned anything about elevator repair other than on the job training that I've now had.
Yeah.
What I've found is that there are a number of issues because these were built in 1988. After I was born, but yet early enough that unfortunately a lot of the parts are now no longer available to us. And that I've found there's a number of companies that have to work together in order to make things readily functioning. So as an example, the programming for the elevator comes from the original manufacturer, which is TKE, Tyson Group. However, the board is now going to be an Otis board that needs to get installed, which then has to work with another software system, which I want to emphasize. The undersheriff brought up that we've had people on site. The maintenance software or the controlling software is not the issue. They've ran several diagnostic tests. And then what ends up happening, to answer your question, even beyond that, is then I get involved to figure out what other possible solutions we have. And quite honestly, I've looked at everything from moving people to other counties, which is an exceptional inconvenience for everybody involved. I've looked at potentially using the old youth service center to try and see if that's available for people and how many people they could hold. Obviously, I've moved as many people as possible to the Maple Street Correctional Center, so that way people try and have the opportunities to have visits while also providing programming that's available to them. I will tell you that I've done my own research from people who predated me in the sheriff's office. And this is the only time that they are even aware of, going back to the 1990s, that all 4 elevators have failed at the exact same time. And the video and the actual visitation has failed as well.
And then, so I know the timeline for all of them are completed is 2027.
Yes.
But do you have any idea, like, which elevator is first? Are we working on the visitation elevator?
Yes.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, you hit the nail on the head. So I was very concerned because the first thing I saw was elevator 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the way it's going to be. And I said, no, that's not the way it's going to be. And then we worked through that and said the visitation elevator, which is elevator 3, just for clarification, will be the very first one they're going to be working on. That refurbishment is currently scheduled to begin in November, December of this year. And again, the timeline projected is 14 weeks. I'm hopeful that'll be quicker than that because that company has been able to provide service to the county before and has been on time or even exceeded expectations and on budget for every project that they've done. So I'm exceptionally hopeful that they'll be able to do the same thing for us as well.
Okay. And for this refurb, because I know there's no guarantees, but have they discussed, like, is this more of a longer term fix than some of the repairs?
It is. So
Okay.
one of the underlying issues in this is the elevators were built in the 1980s. The boards, the programming, everything is completely outdated. So this is going to be a complete gut. So the elevator is going to go down to actually the structure itself. They're going to be refurbishing everything inside, including having newer parts. one of the things I've advocated for now, and this is a huge, I think, thing for us in the future, is to have extra parts on hand so that when these things go down, someone can readily change out the parts. So that way we're not waiting for parts. And my hope and goal is that we will have a supply that's available to us continuously, because I don't want to ever be in this situation again.
Okay. And then my last question for you is that, is there any things, processes or anything that you felt if this was in place, it would have helped?
Yes. What I will say is, I think that if there is an opportunity to have, as Mr. Solano pointed out, an opportunity to speak to the elevator repair maintenance service, the opportunity to be involved in decision-making about the selection of the elevator maintenance, and the ability to take a little bit swifter action, working with Department of Public Works to make sure that we could get somebody who is going to be able to provide us with the service to which I think we deserve.
Go ahead, Rob. I see you over there. Yeah. No, I'm done. Go ahead. Yeah.
Captain, so we have, would there be a way that the sheriff's office could have the contractor appear before our commission and answer some of these questions? I mean, invite. I mean, they don't have to come if they don't want to, but the aspect that it looks like the sheriff's office is out of the decision-making process here of selecting a contractor, selecting a vendor, approving the repairs. It looks like it's all within the public works section. So I think it really would be beneficial if the sheriff's office would say, would you like to come in front of the commission and answer some of these questions? Like with the aspect of contracting, Otis Elevator is the most recent one.
Correct, sir.
Okay, and then we have this Tori Norman.
Tori Newman, yes, sir.
Who's the director?
Deputy Director of Public Works.
And of course, the records. The sheriff's office doesn't have any of those records.
That is correct, sir.
So I just want to thank you for making this all work with all these limitations that you have, where you're not really in control of everything. You know, you're trying to make things work, and it's out of your hands, it appears. So thank you for trying to make everything work the way it is. But, you know, this is a huge disadvantage. And the sheriff's office doesn't have any approval of either the selection of those contractors or vendors. Can you go to the Director of Public Works and say, since it's such a critical situation where we have 4 elevators down, can we have a specific Public Works project manager that's assigned to this and a team that can get this job done faster? Or, you know, have the task analysis relative to maybe Otis will have to bring in another contractor to deal with the software programs or the electrical, or, you know, like I said, I'm not an engineer either. You know, that's why sheriff's office, you're depending on Public Works to do all this. Gosh, my hat's off to you.
And
Thank you.
Sorry, I mean, just to be clear, and I understand the question. It is a unique situation because the sheriff's office is a tenant in the building. But I just want to emphasize that, you know, I don't know that anybody from DPW is an engineer or an elevator, you know, has particular expertise. But what I do know is that they are, you know, they're very communicative. I mean, like I said, Captain Fogarty is able to reach people, and there's you know, there's good communication. But I think I just want to make sure that I emphasize that we appreciate their efforts on our behalf and their partnership. And you know, it's a complicated situation, and I understand, but as far as like the records and asking other people to appear, they're all DPW has the lead. So I don't know that, you know, we can't speak for DPW, but again, I just want to emphasize that, you know, we appreciate their efforts on our behalf.
Well, we have a member of the county executive's office right here,
Sure.
and they work for you, right? They work for
Department of
your
Public
office?
Works is a department under the county.
Can you make the request, say, please come in front of the commission and provide all this information since the sheriff's office is kind of like out
Well,
out all by
I
itself?
don't know if that's what, I mean, I don't know if I have enough information or want to question like people who are working on fixing the elevators. I think my goal is, what do we need to do and what recommendations do we need to make in order to support the sheriff's department so that it doesn't take this long to repair something again? Like, how do we get in front of things? I don't know if we need to question individual folks on specific things. I think it's more high level.
Can I make a comment? Just, I
Mhm.
want to provide some clarification if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
First thing, I want to make sure everyone understands, all four elevators are not all down. I have functioning elevators in my facility, so I just want to make sure everyone hears that. It is. Second of all, I want to say, to your point, and just, Jared, just to let you know, I think this is a very good question for us to follow up on next month. There are currently discussions that are taking place that I'm not going to go into regarding the maintenance contracts, regarding the inner workings of what's going on for the elevators. And we are working very diligently at DPW. And I can tell you, literally, I have had 4 text messages this morning. I think I just got 2 while I was here to let me know of what their projects are and what they're doing. I will, of course, extend an olive branch and ask if they want to participate in something, but if you don't mind. But I will say that I would ask the opportunity to go ahead and provide everyone an update in a month. I think you all deserve that. I think the people of San Mateo County deserve that. I also think it gives us an opportunity to sort of figure out what is the baseline so that we know here's where we've been, here where we're going in the future, if you don't mind.
Well, that would be great.
And while the contract piece of it and what the sheriff's office role in that is, I can tell you that the sheriff's office, county council, and DPW were all working in unison to try to emphasize the importance of getting the elevator issues resolved. But again, it's not looking to assign blame to anyone. It's a complicated issue, and these are things that are, I won't do the math, but 1988 was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And to the point about the parts, to the point that they had to find a company to manufacture a part because it didn't exist anymore and it wasn't available.
When they come out, the repair people, is there a approving official or deciding official through the sheriff's office that signs off on the repairs?
No,
It's all done by Public Works.
correct.
Thank you. And
Public
thank you
Works
very much.
also has an additional expert. So there's the contracting expert who's doing the repairs, and then because Public Works may not have super specific elevator knowledge, they actually have another consultant to check the repairs to ensure that everything is going in. So they of course apply their common sense and their knowledge. Public Works does, but they have a secondary expert that works on this that is flown out. So this, as they were mentioning, this is an all hands on deck moment for everybody within the county to try to get this resolved. So this is a topic of conversation amongst everybody.
No worries. I'm gonna, unless James, you.
Thank you both for the information. I'm, a little over a year, this is the first time having a better understanding that you're tenants and that you're going to your landlord for some help and all of the complications. So this is really good for my understanding, and now it's going to be recorded so the community has it as well. But prior to this, how has this information been given or explained to the folks that it has impacted the most? There's a lot of folks that really are at your necks. Like, this is your problem, this is your issue, you're trying to not have visits and things like that. Has there been an opportunity to give the folks that this is impacting the most this information of just how complicated it is?
I can't speak to what's happened before. I can only
Yeah, I'm speaking now.
of this. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that was one of the first issues, or that was one of the things that the sheriff included in the response to all of this, was notifying incarcerated persons of making sure that they had the information, and that's accomplished through the leadership from Corrections Bureau putting the information out, and now with the tablets, since everybody has access to those. That's kind of the flow of that information for them.
I also, just to comment, I will tell you that I have spoken to numerous people and also said, if someone wants to provide me with somebody who needs a personal visit, if I'm able to make that happen, I will figure out a way to try and make that happen as much as possible. There are people in this room who I've made that offer to and said, someone's not getting a visit. I said, there are certain circumstances where I may be able to make that happen, but I need to know who the person is. To date, no one's been able to provide me with a name other than, well, they're being inconvenienced, which I 100% agree and support. I'm more than happy to try and do everything I can to try and get somebody a visit. I understand how important visits are, and I understand how concerning this is. So to answer your question, yes, it was messaged to people through a number of means. One was the people who are obviously in custody. Number two, we let people know via signs as soon as people came in the lobby, as soon as we knew the elevators were down. In addition to that, there was a press release that was done that was sent out by the sheriff's office as well to let people know what the problems are within the elevator and what the plan was of, we can't do a whole lot because this isn't our control. It's up to DPW and Otis and other people to try and help us out.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and see if we have any public comments.
Okay, members of the public, if you wish to speak on item number 6, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk during this time. We do have one speaker slip. Nancy Goodman, if you can come up to the podium, you have 2 minutes to speak.
Thank you. I'm Nancy Goodman, and thank you to Under Sheriff Correa and Captain Fogarty for all that you're doing and that really good explanation. And I will say, with Fixin San Mateo County, we've gotten 2 complaints. I've passed them on, but they didn't want their name used. Passed them on to Captain Fogarty, and he did indeed offer to facilitate a visit. But one of them was a short-termer. But I did, and I appreciate also the innovative work that you're trying to do, even thinking about putting people at YSC. So anything you can do to help. I did promise to read somebody's complaint. It's a mom whose son is in jail. I would like to voice my concern about the broken elevators. They've been out of order since the middle of June. I've tried video visits with my son, but that is a pathetic system when you only see his face in a little square the size of a postage stamp. It also glitches out if either one of us moves our faces even an inch. Family visits have always been vitally important for inmates as well as families. Sadly, and then that was August 2nd. On August 30th, she emailed again. Sadly, as of yesterday, I spoke with the front lobby officer. She said there's no in-person visits, no repair. In speaking with my son, he said a second elevator had broken down, apparently one that lawyers, inmates, and officers use. This put an additional strain on the inmates and staff, resulting in almost a total lockdown and lots of shuffling of pods for almost 2 weeks. Some days they weren't out on recreation at all, and most days just 30 minutes to shower. Tablets were scarce during this time. That definitely puts an emotional strain on the inmates. I did have a video visit with him yesterday. It is what it is, grainy, glitchy, and not at all like seeing him in person. So just to remind us the impact on people, and thank you for doing what you can. I think it's incumbent on all of us to try to help solve this.
Okay, moving on to Zoom public comments. We do have one hand raised. Bill Newell, you may begin when you're ready.
First of all, can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay. First of all, I appreciate all of the discussion tonight and all of the efforts being made, not just by the powers that be, but by the ACAC to really fully understand this problem and try to address it in a more effective and timely manner. Regardless of what's been revealed tonight, it's unconscionable that people cannot visit their family and their loved ones at McGuire due to a broken elevator. The sheriff's office should really have more practical control of the elevators. You have 4 elevators and one's down, then there's 3 other elevators. Why one of those other elevators can't be devoted to visitation, I think is an issue that could be resolved. There just does not seem to be that kind of urgency. As Nancy Goodman already stated, Fixins received complaints about not being able to visit family, and the video visits are grainy and glitchy and in no way a substitute for in-person visits. I'm intrigued by the fact that you were able to move some people to the other jails so that people were able to get visits, but then there's still a number of folks who have not been able to have visitation because they're in McGuire. Something needs to be done in a more timely manner so that this issue does not continue to go on. I think it's significant, and I would compliment you on making the changes for the new elevators the number one priority to be for people incarcerated so that they will have priority to be able to have in-person family visits. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm looking forward. I know you're going to come back next month, so putting back on the agenda for next month to continue in the discussion. And can you answer the question real quickly about why the other elevators can't be utilized for visitation?
Thank you, Chair. So to answer the question of why we can't do that, what would mean is someone would have to get jail clearance in order to come into our secure area, to then use the elevators to go upstairs, to then walk them through a staircase, to then walk them over to the other side where the visitation is, which would unfortunately end up impacting them probably greater than it would as it is now. The second thing is when people are coming into the facility, they're subject to search and seizure at any point they come into this facility, just like all of us are. And so I don't want to make somebody feel very uncomfortable going and visit their family member by doing it that way. Again, why I've offered to try and make any exemption I could to even moving other people around is to give people that opportunity. If I have a name, I'm more than happy to work with it. The other thing is when it comes to actual coming into the facility, when someone walks into any one of the 3 elevators, there is a opportunity to come in contact with people who are incarcerated also. And we may try and make sure that that doesn't end up happening. Because of the fact there's limited numbers of elevators available, we are constantly moving people up and down floors. We have people in our intake process. We don't want any accidental contact, and it's not fair for the people who have been incarcerated to have to possibly come in contact with someone they may know. So we're trying to prevent any sort of issue where that may end up occurring as well. So really what it boils down to is our facility is designed for 3 staff elevators, 1 visitation elevator. And we're trying to minimize whatever impact might be on the incarcerated people so that way they don't have a harmful experience of their own, or the people coming in to visit are not traumatized by having to be subject to search and seizure or subject to a jail clearance in order to come in. We also have something called the PREA, which is Prison Rape Elimination Act, which requires anybody that comes into our correctional facility to have to fill out a piece of paper saying that they understand what their responsibilities are. That includes reporting whenever someone's been a victim or notifies them of being a victim of sexual assault. Again, that's a training that people have to go through. We don't want to subject people to go through that training in order to go and visit somebody who's a loved one.
Thank you.
So it's about design, security, and it's also a risk mitigation issue for folks moving up and down the stairs if somebody gets injured. And then we also talked about the challenge that would present if we had people moving around the jail that way and there was an evacuation that was required. So.
Thank you. And then the last thing I want to say before, and then if anyone else has one more thing, anything else they want to say, but this is the last thing I have to say is finding a way to learn this information as this body earlier. I would just appreciate it, just so we know what's happening as well and have an idea. And so finding out like the day that it hit the news, instead if we can find a way that we can communicate so that we're aware of what's happening would be great for me.
We'll work on that.
Okay.
We will work on that.
Thank you. Anything from anyone else? I don't know what's going on with the blinds, but the room is bizarre.
They go up and down.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, nothing's working. And is there anything else? And I will say, I've the empathy also goes for the family members. You know, I don't have any personal experience for this except of going through COVID and not being able to see my children in person. They had to stay at school and only being able to talk to them via Zoom. It's not, there's nothing that uh, fills the void of being able to hold my babies. So, and being able to see my babies in person. So I appreciate that there's video, but we all know that in person is the best way to go. So I just want that also to be said and for people to know that I understand that.
Would it be possible to set up Zoom for visitation? I mean, that doesn't seem like that would be that difficult to set up Zoom. If you have it for public defenders, I mean, would it be difficult to set it up?
It would be, there's a number of security concerns that I
Oh.
would have in charge of the actual facility itself. Unfortunately, if you open it up for Zoom, then you're gonna be opening up to a lot of things potentially happening. I don't want the incarcerated people to also be victims of crime because they get traumatized by somebody outside who's then trying to extort them or other issues that may end up happening as a result of it.
Extortion through Zoom?
Unfortunately, there are people who are nefarious who like to do criminal activity, and that oftentimes occurs via Zoom or other online variations of it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
There's an equipment issue too, because the private defender's office is providing the computers that are used, so they're responsible for maintaining them, and then there would be probably security issues too with the type of access that people might be able to get to.
So those tablets they have don't have that capability?
Correct.
Right.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next item, and that is discussion and possible action on the recommendation to improve the citizens complaint form. And so we all have what's currently available. Thank you, they provided it to us. So I know we had a public comment on this form, the complaint form before. And so looking at, again, converting the form into an editable, so we can edit it version. It's kind of late at night for me. And currently, I believe right now, neither one of these can be edited. And this last one, I think it has some ability to be modified. And then offering the form in multiple languages to improve accessibility, which I think is very important in this county. Providing regular, transparent public reporting on the complaints that filed. So we just have an update, like, has a complaint been received? Where is it on the chain of in the complaint process? Just as much information as we can make publicly accessible without impeding the complaint process. And then having a discussion on this and possibly making some of these recommendations to the sheriff's office. So, opening it up for any questions or comments.
I would like to make a comment.
Sure.
So it's interesting, you know, the complaints against the county of San Mateo is very similar. So I just went that to the website as well. But I think there's an absolutely perfect model that we don't have to go very far. And that's the city of San Mateo's police department. First of all, it's got a drop-down menu of any language you need. And then you can send in your complaint by phone, in person, by email, or you can mail it. And they also say submit a kudu or a complaint. So it gives you both opportunity to get compliments and complaints. So I would just like to put that forward.
Awesome. Anyone else? Okay, just writing that down.
I have a question.
Yes.
When it talks about the procedure, who does it? It seems like it could be anyone. Is there someone that could
That
help
handles
with this all?
the procedure of who handles the complaint?
Yeah, it says once your complaint is received, it's thoroughly and fairly investigated by a person designated by the sheriff. So does that change?
Anyone else?
And also, is there a time frame, how long this could take?
Yeah.
Because it's just really open, like it could take forever. There's nothing saying like.
Does it have
it's
to be
gonna done
completed in a certain
30 days or anything like that? But yeah, I'm just curious of those things, who is it assigned to?
So once this type of complaint is received, it'll go to the Professional Standards Bureau. And I might have to come back. There might be questions. I want to make sure that I give you the most accurate and up-to-date information, but just about the process, I think I understand that, at least to speak to it this evening. It goes to the Professional Standards Bureau, and then it would be assigned to somebody to investigate. And once it's resolved, and once it's completed, it's reviewed, and then notice would be sent to the person who filed the complaint.
So I know someone's coming back next month, maybe, and so if you don't know this, you could bring it back to us.
Sure.
On average, how long does that complete process take?
Madam Chair, I think that next month is probably
Okay,
the
yeah,
best time, is a time we could give you the best answer.
okay, no, that works. And I think what I think I probably will do is I will think about this a little bit more and then send any more questions to you all to forward on to them so we can.
And I know that there's two versions. There's an example B and an example A. So the sheriff has a lot of different initiatives that are connected to technology. So, as the commissioner said about the drop-down menu and this being a form that you could complete online, editable. It's not like you're going to eat it, but yeah, one that you could fill out. I think that's something that, the sheriff is going to have our technology folks look at this, and see which ways it can be improved, including not being limited to, if it is, to make sure that it's accessible in different languages.
Yeah, and I think the language thing for me is, again, like I said, the most important, because we know that ability to read the form, you can't put in a complaint in if you can't read the form. And we know that there's a need for language accessibility in the county. So just being able to start there, even if we keep these up, being able to have these translated and posted, I think would be great, while we look into possibly adopting the city of San Mateo's or other things. Anything else? No. Thank you so much. Okay, so I think the direction is just, if anyone else has any questions about the actual process, you want to just shoot those on over to Emma and the team, and then they'll be able to bring those back to us next month. Okay, now moving on, update from our representatives from ICAC on.
Sorry, we have to take public comment.
We do. I'm so sorry. It's late for me. Go ahead.
Okay, members of the public, if you wish to speak on item number 7, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring up a speaker card. First speaker will be Trina L. Patton. If you can come up to the podium.
Good evening. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and I would like you all to consider perhaps taking this out of the sheriff's department. For me, it feels a bit like the fox guarding the hen house. And so, you asked about how long the complaints take. I'd actually like to know the statistics about the finding of the complaints. How many were sustained, not sustained, unfounded, exonerated? Since this commission started, every meeting we've had somebody either in person or online complain about an interaction with a sheriff, and not be able to get the information that they needed to even file a complaint. The sheriff herself said that they're supposed to hand out a card with their name and information, and we've had people report that they didn't do that. They can't get the sheriff's name. They call and can't get the information. And so I would like to advocate for something more like whether it be the IG or an ombudsman like they use in long-term care, but somebody outside of the sheriff's office who actually takes the complaints and then moves them along. One of the goals here I see is providing transparent public reporting on the complaints filed. I don't know that right now in this county, we have a trust in the sheriff's office that would allow people to think that it's a transparent and open process if it stays within the sheriff's office. So again, I would like to advocate for it to be taken out of the sheriff's office with an independent body. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker will be Nancy Goodman.
Thank you. And just to echo what Trina Patton said, I think that what we've said all along is one of the advantages of an inspector general, which you've recommended, is that they could handle complaints. That's what they do in other counties. When we're getting complaints through our Fixin email that's on our website, the people, when I talk to them, have not wanted to tell the sheriff. And one guy asked, why not? And I even talked to the sergeant at the time in internal affairs. And the guy just said, I just don't want to. They might retaliate against me. They did something to me on my bike outside of my house. They know where I live, you know, and I think we need to recognize that we're hearing from people who don't want to report to the sheriff office. So the inspector general is even more important and urgent for that reason. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have 2 hands raised on Zoom. We'll begin with Noble Truth Seeker. You may begin when you're ready.
Yeah, I want to vigorously agree with both prior speakers on this topic. I was interrogated by 2 sheriff's officers, and it was an inappropriate interrogation in a public place about another resident in my building that they were trying to prosecute for inappropriate criminal activity. And the person that they were investigating heard my answers to every question, and I have to this day not been able to file a complaint because I was told that they were doing an ongoing special investigation, so they couldn't tell me their names or their badge numbers. They did not give me a card, and they were on this property, and property management never got any identification from either one of them. And property management also refused to call the sheriff's office and get their names and badge numbers. This is a huge problem. I'm speaking on behalf of a building in Redwood City, and I don't want to say more other than people who have specific issues, and the officers 100% are targeting, harassing residents in this building on the street repeatedly, inappropriately, rolling up slow, waving out the window to let these individuals know that they're being seen and they're being followed. Completely inappropriate behavior, and we can't report any of it. So 1,000%, this is why I keep saying we need a not just an inspector general, but also an ombudsman, because I don't think all these incidents will end up in a court of law, but I don't trust the sheriff's department at all to deal with any of them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And last speaker on Zoom will be Bill Newell. You may begin when you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you all for looking at these. These are all good ideas that you've talked about on the complaint form. But again, just as you've heard from previous speakers, the problem really lies in the system. And the system is that the complaints are handled by the sheriff's office. And once again, this is a reason why the community needs a confidential place where their complaints can be handled independent of the sheriff's office. And the ideal for that will once again be an independent inspector general, as the ICAC has recommended, to handle these complaints. So I think if you look around, maybe look at other counties, how some of these systems work, you might find that inspector generals play a big role in being effective in the handling of complaints that people have with the sheriff's office, because they know that's a place that it can be treated with independence, confidence, and security. So thank you very much.
Thank you. That concludes public comment.
Great. So I don't think we're gonna take any other action on this because we have the ability to, but I don't think we're gonna take any or make any recommendations that need any action right now. Am okay, can move on. Okay, so the next item is a update uh, from our ACAP representatives on the deaths in custody sheriff's office task force. Do you have any updates?
We'd love to give an update. There's nothing to report. I have sent an email to the sheriff's department. James has sent an email to the sheriff's department. We have not had any responses. And so at this point in time, we are ready to go. We really would like to help out on this issue, but we're awaiting response from the sheriff's department.
So if we could get any updates when you come back to on when the task force, the next meeting is happening, that would be great. Any comments from any other commissioners? Any public comments?
Members of the public, if you wish to speak on item number 8, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk. We do have one hand raised. One moment. Bill Newell, you may begin when you're ready.
Thank you. As you probably already know, but it always bears repeating, 6 people have died in the jail since January of 2023. 2 were by suicides, 3 were drug-related. Throughout the state, many deaths are suicide or drug-related. Our jails, we know, are understaffed and not equipped to serve as treatment centers. We need an inspector general who can do an independent outside review of the deaths in the jail with an eye on preventing future deaths. This issue is way bigger than the jail. We need to step back and take a systems view. The county needs to look at why we are using our jail as a mental health hospital, a health clinic, and a drug detox. This is not the jail's job. We need community resources that can offer diversion. Why not adopt the Behavioral Health Commission's recommendations for a 24-hour drop-in crisis stabilization center in lieu of jail when appropriate? And the National Association of Mental Illness has also spoken out for safer options for those in crisis. The fact that the sheriff's office continues to be silent on this, or at least non-responsive, is extremely troubling, and this is the kind of concern and issue that the vulnerability is there, the record for what's happened is there, and the urgency cannot be overstated, and steps need to be taken now to prevent any further deaths in the jail. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no more public comment.
Thank you. Moving on to our next item, discussion and possible recommendation. Consideration of additional program tours of the correctional facility and ride-alongs. So we have, it's been a year since as a commission, and that's when we had our last tour, when we all started in these roles for those of us that went. So seeing if we could have a discussion on whether or not we want to go have additional tours, having more information, because when we went in, a lot of us went in really blind. This is one of our first educational experiences we had, besides what we're learning in the meeting. And so I will turn it over to Commissioner Charlie Malcano to talk a little bit about that. And then I added ride-along. So maybe thinking about, we didn't do ride-alongs before because the ability to have all of us, or to facilitate all of us going on a ride-along would be a heavy lift. But maybe doing a more of a divide and conquer, where some of us do tours and some of us do ride-along, and then we report back. Because we spend a lot of time talking about the prison system, which, you know, needs attention, but that's not the sole responsibility and oversight. There's also the law enforcement that they provide in a number of cities here in the county. And so learning more about that area to see if there's any help, support, recommendations that we can make there. So I will toss it over to Shirley to see if she has anything to add to.
I'm actually really interested in the programs, and I went on the website of the Sheriff's Department, and it's interesting because I'm interested in seeing some of the programs that that are listed on the website. It's kind of funny. Yes, last week I was in Grants Pass, and they had on television the Tails program from San Mateo. That's your dogs. The Tails program, and it's an old video of a program that was quite successful that doesn't exist to my knowledge. And so, you know, it's interesting because it's listed on the sheriff's website. It doesn't exist. There's a culinary women's program. I'm not sure that exists. Does that exist? Oh, good. Okay, great. Or Project Build. So I would just like to see, I think jails offer a great opportunity to teach people skills. And, you know, they're stopping their madness in their lives. And so if we want to change people's lives, this is a good place to begin if we can offer them the different programs. So I'm actually just interested in seeing what we have, if we have any alternatives. This is probably not what you were talking about, but alternatives to incarceration. Do we have the work furlough program? Do we have, they were talking about minimum security transitional facility. Do we have that? If we do, I'd love to see it. And just, you know, what do we have in terms of, do we use electronic monitoring? And again, I mentioned work furlough. If we don't have it, are there plans for reinstatement? And just what do we have that are good programs that can lower recidivism? That's, you know, that's what I'm very interested in.
Yeah. So, I don't know if anyone else would like to take tours and look at those instead of an overall tour of the prisons, just more specific tour to look at the programs and see them in action if possible. So scheduling a time when the programs are actually functioning. I know when I went, we did see a little bit of the culinary, but some of the other things were not happening on the days that we went.
I think to the extent people want to see certain things, they can send that to us. We can work with the sheriff's office to try to arrange it. They have Dr. Wagner, who came and presented to y'all a few times. I think would be excited to talk about the programs.
So I know definitely you want to do it, Shirley.
The alternative sentencing
Yeah.
programs, yeah. That would be very
Does anyone else want to visit? So that may be.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go
I'm
ahead.
more interested in a ride-along than I am visiting
Okay,
the actual facilities.
okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, ride along
Okay.
possibilities.
So can you look into see what the ride-along possibility and capacity is? Like if two of us want to do it, or three of us, what's possible?
Sure, we'll find that out.
And
share
if I'm
that.
not mistaken, I mean, I think that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that's a something that's open to the public. So, I mean, it might be like a one-on-one thing, set something up at a time that's more convenient for me because different shifts, you can do it in the daytime, afternoon or evening, depending on when you're available, in whatever different.
No,
city.
not all together, just, yeah.
Right. So, you know, whether it's coordinated to them or we make that call to you, that's something that we can do on our own as well, correct? As a citizen, yeah.
Probably ideally just coordinate it through us. We'll shoot it over to the sheriff's office just to keep it all organized in one spot, and then we'll
Okay.
organize it for you.
Okay. So right now we have James, myself, and Alexis that want to do ride along. Shirley that wants to do a tour, and then we can email. What was that? Yeah, I don't know if Rob. No, Rob's fine. And then if we can email Bill and see if he's interested, and also Rebecca. Open it up for public comments.
Members of the public, if you wish to speak on item number 9, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk. There are no public comments at this time.
All right, moving on to our last, and this is going to be really quick. It's just any updates on the ad hoc committees. We have our 3: community and staff engagement, transparency and accountability, and improved communication between inmates and families. I think we got a little bit of an update tonight on what was happening with the elevators. I don't know if anyone had anything to report out or if needs any assistance on the work that you guys are doing on your different subcommittees, or any idea of when you would have recommendations to move forward on the other subcommittees.
I don't have anything new.
No? Okay. I would like to say on the transparency and accountability that I did present, and Alexis was there. Thank you for the support. And to the previous agenda item about the complaints, that was part of the recommendation for the Inspector General would be a place for complaints. Right now, if we said, oh, the complaints need to move away from the sheriffs, to go where? And so for me, it doesn't make any sense to move anything unless we have a place to put it, or in a place that can handle something like that. So it was part of the recommendation to the Board of Soups that the Inspector General could be a place for complaints. That would be part of independent oversight, and that they would function as the independent oversight. I know a lot of conversation is around us. Right now we're still advisory to the Board of Supervisors, and the Board of Supervisors handles the oversight. But if there was an independent aspect, it would be the Inspector General who would support us, and we could also send information. So I know, Rob, you were talking tonight about some of the specifics around different employees. I think that would be something that we could have the Inspector General look into. It wouldn't have to be something that we would do ourselves, because I don't feel comfortable questioning or talking to staff, investigating staff. I think that would be something that we would let a professional do. So I don't know if everyone had the opportunity to see the presentation. If you need it, I can send it to you to review. But it's with the Board of Supervisors, and we'll hear back from them when we do.
May I add something?
Yes.
In the past, when you bring in another department or division, sometimes you get a different response and different answers. And that's why I suggested that we bring in those other groups in order to, invite them to hear their side of the story. I'm sure there are two sides of the story relative to the scheduling and the repairs and the contracts and the approvals and things like that. So that's why I just wanted to hear the two sides. Thank you.
Any public comment?
Members of the public, if you wish to speak on item number 10, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk. We do have one raised hand. Bill Newell, you may begin when you're ready.
I guess it's my night. Thank you, ICAC. A couple points. I'll try to go quickly. For the Transparency Ad Hoc Committee, thank you for recommending the Inspector General. The question is, how can we support your committee, successfully support as an advocate for this? I think you can be sure that members of the community will be making our concerns and our comments to the Board of Supervisors at any meeting, as many meetings as we can possibly make it. For Communications and Ad Hoc Committee, it's ridiculous that incarcerated people have not been able to receive personal mail since April of 21. A year ago, the sheriffs told one Fixin volunteer that they were working on setting up a mailroom, hiring mailroom staff, and procuring technology that would allow incarcerated people to get personal mail. Unfortunately, nothing has happened since then. The county, as you may know, has been sued over this. People who were enrolled in community college, where they needed transcripts, in our collectives, where they shared art, and more. Other counties do allow physical mail. For example, Los Angeles and Santa Clara County use civilian staff. There's no reason to keep this civil right and free speech violation going here. For the Community and Staff Engagement Ad Hoc Committee, I agree it is important that you hear from the sheriffs, unions, deputies, correctional officers as sheriffs and lieutenants. But thank you also for planning community engagement meetings, and please involve the community, not just the county staff, in identifying the questions for the survey and the topics that you cover. Appreciate your reaching out to us in the community and listening to our comments at each of your meetings. And once again, I want to compliment you and thank you for all of your service that you're doing for the citizens of San Mateo County. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no more public comment.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any commissioner liaison announcements? Nope. All right, awesome. So can I get a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned. I'm just gonna go call it. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you, Chair, Madam Chair.